a recycled record landscape. So there's a couple examples. This is has a lot going on. So there's some animals, some bikes, kind of a contemporary landscape, some buildingscapes in the background. This one right here shows a landscape, and I wanted to show you some of the materials we're going to use. So we're going to use a recycled record. We want to have aluminum foil. We're going to use a little bit of glitter, some paint for the sky possibly, some cool duct tape. We have all kinds of vehicles and a few animals. We have a glue stick. There's some scotch tape that we can use. We have a little bit of road tape that should be included. I'll probably try to include it on your tape roll here. And then there's some scrap paper, and the scrap paper can be used in a lot of ways, so there's no reason to waste anything. We can always use some of the shapes that are already there to help with the buildings. We have some glitter glue, and we have very little tape here that can kind of outline a few things possibly. So there's all kinds of materials we're going to use. We're going to do it in segments. We have to put together the background and then work towards the foreground. So the background first and then the foreground. And in the background of this landscape, this one was painted, so that's going to be in the background, and then we start building it up and layering it on top. And one of the key things for this project is to layer things so that it looks like it belongs and it has depth. We want it to look like there's some depth to it. Thank you, and hopefully you enjoy your project. Recycled record art project. So I'm going to assume we all have some kind of cutting tools, so small scissors, large scissors, and then having a couple markers is always helpful too. We can decorate a little bit on top. So what I'm going to do, since I have this in a large container, I'm going to squeeze just a little bit of paint at the top. Now if you have a little container, you can just dab your brush into it. You don't need a lot. The key is very little, and to thin it out, that way it dries quick. So I'm brushing it over the top here, trying to cover really just the top edge. Most of this will be covered with paper and other materials. So a little bit here. I can even do this to give some design to it. That gives a nice background for it. Now I can place my brush aside. Normally you probably want to let it dry for maybe 30 minutes, and you really want to try to thin it out as much as possible. So next I can start to use, look through my paper, and I can use my glue stick. Now this looks like a good part for some buildings, because what I can do is I can actually cut it in half, just like this. Maybe clean it up just a little bit. So I'm cutting a few different levels to it here, and this could be some buildings. Now there's gaps, so what I probably want to do is use some of this glossy foil paper, which everybody will have, and this could be maybe the next layer. So what I want to do, since I have a big piece, I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to open up my glue stick, make sure I can see some glue, put it on the clean area, and use lots of glue. One of the key things for glue is to use glue in the corners, otherwise it starts to fold up. So a little bit in the middle. The main thing is the corners here have lots of glue, and my paint is still a little wet, but that's okay. I'm going to stick the foil over, and if you notice, what's happening is I've went off the edge a little bit. Now I can always curl it around, and that way I've completely wrapped this side and it's covered up. Now I want to use another glue stick, another piece of paper. This is going to be some of the background. It's the layering I was talking about. And then we can add this piece here and maybe scoot it over just a little bit, and it's just fitting. And I'm going to wrap it around here. And then what I might do is put something here so it kind of cleans up that line. So what I may do is, when I look at this cityscape, maybe I'll put a piece right here. So I can add, now actually this one is a sticker, so we want to take a look. Sometimes the foam pieces are stickers and sometimes we need the glue. So if it is a sticker, I'm going to pull this off, get as much off as I can. Sometimes it's a bit troublesome to get off. It's very, very sticky. And again, if it's not sticky, we want to use lots of glue. Now I'm going to go up into the landscape. And I got a little bit on, with my fingers, a little bit of paint. That's okay. I'm going to layer it. So I'm going to go right here in the middle, layer this on top. And then I want to continue to go across and then slowly go down. I'm working my way down. Next step is thinking about another building. So this building, maybe it's going to become 2 buildings, and then I can even use this piece. So now I'm going to use some more glue on the back, lots in the corners, and it may go, let's see, here, I want to look at it for a minute, maybe right about here. I'm going to stick it on. Now I'm going to stop here for a minute because I want to layer some more buildings. You can continue to work, and we will go to the next level in just a few minutes. So think about layering one level at a time. You slowly work down. It's not something you rush through. Recycled record project. Now I had a lot of layers for the background so far, several buildings, and again we have to think abstractly and kind of contemporary. So obviously buildings would not have flowers or designs on them like this, but we're kind of representing buildings and we're making it as artistic as possible. So I've gone a little more than halfway down. One of the things I can think about now is if I want to use some of my duct tape for, this one would be good grass. This one of course would be a road. So the first step is probably my grass actually, because I want to make sure I have the full use of my road without covering it up. So find the end of your duct tape, pull it out, and what I like to do is we're going to overlap. So you don't want to go down here, you want to go up here a little bit, overlap, fold it over, and then we can rip it off like this, or you can try to cut it off. Duct tape is kind of difficult to work sometimes. So there's some grass, and then I can do a road, and this is tape. So the road can go here. Now, actually, I have one more thought. Right below the road, this is unused space. So before I add this road, I might want to stop and think about what I want that to be. Now, maybe it could be water. Actually, I have a little bit of blue. I can add some glue. Make sure the glue is popping out of there. Use lots of glue here. And I can add the piece down here, and then again I can always trim that off, so I'm not worried about it going over the edge right now. And then when I put this down, I'm going to check. Yep, that covers it all. So over here, I want to have excess, I can just fold it over. This is really easy tape to rip. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Fold this over. And then with scissors, I can always trim, or have someone trim it for you. Trim some of the edges. And that's the beginnings of my landscape. So very colorful, lots of buildings. I have grass, I have a road, I have a little water. Now I can start to put things on top of this. I can take stickers. I can cut shapes out of my other pieces and add them on top. Now this is obviously a vehicle, so it's going to go on the road. There's another vehicle. It's going to go on the road here. Maybe there's a lion somewhere roaming around in the grass right here. Maybe there's a train that's going by on the road. A little crazy. This is supposed to be your own imagination. So there's animals, there's vehicles we can add, and then some of the other things is adding a little bit of glitter, possibly. And if we want to add any more tape anywhere, cut a few pieces of tape at it, cut a few shapes, maybe certain little shapes would go in certain areas. Maybe we want to add something to the top of a building, we can always do that. What I'm going to do is show you quickly how we can add some glitter. Now glitter does not stick unless we have some glue or a wet surface. So I'm going to add a little bit of glitter right on top of here, or a little bit of glue on top of there, a little bit of glue here. And then glitter can come out quickly, so I'm just going to add a little sprinkle all over the piece. And the paint is still wet, so the glitter will stick into it, and when it dries, it stays. Now I have the glitter, I can kind of shake it off, the extra, and I have a start of my piece. So this even has a hole in the back you can hang it up with. You have the beginnings of your landscape. You can use markers for details. You can use some glitter glue. Now this is good to save to the very end, and you can always add a little bit in the sky. Maybe there's a little bit on your building. This is going to take a while to dry, so you want to give it probably an entire day for this glitter glue to dry. And then it still may be wet. Could take even a few days to completely dry. Just keep this in an area, it's nice and safe, and you can keep it dry. That's our recycled record project. Again, add as much detail as you want. Sometimes it's helpful to tape things down. You can use all the scraps. You can even use little tape. And actually, I'm going to use this real fast. This little piece of tape gives a little bit of a highlight right here. And there's our finished piece. Thank you so much for joining.